Welcome to the Ultra World Podcast, the soccer fan's voice from the stands, with your hosts, Marc, Ernay, and Sean Cassels. Coming to you from Radio Waves Studios in New York City. Now, let's kick off the show.
Well, hi again, everyone. Welcome to the Ultra World Podcast. I am your co-host, Marc Ernay, alongside Sean Cassels, and we are thrilled to be joined by one of the Soccer Cooligans. The Cooligans now in their 10th season of producing their very popular and very funny soccer podcast. Christian Polanco is with us. So great to see you again. You and I got together, it's almost 7 years ago now.
Yes. That was at
10-10 wins,
10-10
which we
wins.
don't talk about anymore.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know how the breakup went or whatever. But yeah, I'm honored to be here. And it's nice to see you again. And I'm happy to be a part of this. Thank you so much for
because
inviting
the
me.
world is so small, you and Sean hooked up through his better half
Sure.
on the comedy circuit.
I mean, you're using the term hooked up wrong, but I understand what you're trying to do, Marc. Yes, we connected.
Okay, that's the word I should have used. Connected.
His partner is a comedian, Pierre, who I'm a huge fan of. Kendrick Cunningham. So yeah, really, really cool.
She'll be very happy to hear that. And yeah, so you bring the whole gamut to this. You bring personality and knowledge here, and that's why we brought you on here.
Okay, that's an honor.
And maybe some humor.
Maybe some humor there.
No, you guys didn't pay for that. You do not get that.
So I also understand that you are a big soccer fan, but you're also an Everton fan here. So I guess we'll dive in with the first question is, how did you get into soccer?
So I got into the sport through the FIFA video games. That was my honest first introduction. I grew up playing video games and obsessed or whatever. And even if I didn't know the sport, I have my older brother who's 8 years older than me. And whatever he was playing, that's what I was playing. And it was like, if he was good at it, then I needed to be good at it, right? So we're playing Street Fighter, let's say. And I remember being like 8, 9 years old and my brother like just constantly kicking my ass. And I'm like, I don't care how old I am. I need to figure out what enough motor skills with my hand to be able to be good enough to play this game. So one of the games that we played must have been FIFA, who knows, 93, 94, something like that. And that's how it was my kind of first introduction. And then it really wasn't until 98, 99, I started working at a GameStop. And then I was working around other like obsessed soccer fans. So one of my best friends is Colombian. He introduced me to like the Colombian national team, to Carlos Valderrama and all these guys. So I was, but even still through the video games, like especially in 1998, there was a Road to the World Cup special edition of FIFA. I was playing that, and even though I wasn't super knowledgeable about soccer, I was like kicking everyone's ass and all my other GameStop coworkers. So I was just really good at the game. And little by little, I remember. So my coworker, one of my best friends now, but he brought me to my first ever match, which was the year 2000, Roma against Real Madrid. At Giant Stadium, old Giant Stadium, and I saw Luis Figo, Roberto Carlos, Gabriel Batistuta on Roma. So it was the Galacticos. I mean, it was, and I sort of knew that I was watching big time players, but I just really didn't understand the magnitude until I kind of walked in and saw how many people were there to see these teams. And that's kind of what sparked it. Then I started, especially when David Beckham came to the U.S. and played for Galaxy. I started going to more games, and I was going to games as a kid, like at Metro Stars, and seeing Tim Howard in goal, and all those little things. I wasn't an obsessed fan. I was going to games for those first 10 years that I started attending matches, but I wasn't connected to any particular team, and I didn't really understand fandom and being a supporter until way later.
Did playing FIFA, because Marc and I were talking in our last episode about how it was the World Cup that got us into it.
Sure.
Did you know all the players without knowing the teams? Like, because you have to pick out. I don't know FIFA that well, but I'm assuming they had Valderrama. They had all the players on the European teams. You probably knew them all before.
Not all. I mean, I wasn't super like. So I was super nerdy about like because I collected basketball cards and like Marvel cards and stuff like that. So that's where a lot of my knowledge was focused when it comes to sports and baseball as well. I collected some baseball cards. So soccer they were just like these digital people that I knew were good, and I knew what the stats were, and I knew how to like manipulate the game in a way that would lead to me being successful. So I wasn't super focused on the players themselves until about I would probably say like FIFA 2002, right? And then so that early 2000s Brazil team, Ronaldinho, R9, that's when I was just like, whoa, hold on, like they do this in the video game. This is real. Like this guy can actually do all this weird, crazy stuff. Yeah. Ronaldinho, I think for me was the first player, the first footballer that I was like, whoa, this is like I can see. I knew in basketball the comparisons were like, Dominique Wilkins, like dunkers that could like things that were genuinely could surprise me, and he was the first footballer that I saw really do that. And then I had to work my way backwards. Then was watching Zinedine Zidane. Then obviously you watch clips of Pele and all these other players. So my history lesson didn't come till much later because I'm Dominican. I didn't grow up with other people kind of passing the game down to me. So I really had to pick that up on my own.
Which is a lot of our audience here. We are trying to be the toe dip in for people who are kind of scared by soccer there. So that leads me to the next question is, why Everton?
Okay, so why Everton? So the easy answer is just Tim Howard. So obviously 2014 World Cup, Tim Howard has this game against Belgium that is surreal. They, his Wikipedia is updated to the Secretary of Defense right after that game. He stopped, I believe, I think it was like a World Cup record.
14 or it was ridiculous.
It's 14 or 50, something like that. It's stupid high. He just stopped so many games. We're all still upset at Chris Wondolowski for not tapping that in that game. So, but that game, so that was 2014. 2015 is when the Cooligans begin. So I always say, like, I'm an Everton fan because that is my Premier League team. But the first club that I supported was New York City FC. That was what taught me how to be a supporter. I was like, the team was playing in its inaugural season. I was meeting supporters. I was meeting people that were painting the tifos, and I was like, so you do this for free? And people were like, yeah, this is my life. I want to support this team. So that taught me about that dedication and real passion about supporting a team, even though the team had never played a game before in their lives, right? And it was just, everybody's like, you got to pick a Premier League team. You got to pick a Premier League team, right? And I had no idea who to pick. I'm looking at the 20 teams that are there. I'm like, all these teams, what connection do I have to any of them?
It's overwhelming.
Yeah, and it feels like you're either being peer pressured by those supporters of that particular team. They want you to pick their team, and I had no connection. That's really it. Like I was looking at what the teams I know that were really good, and obviously like Manchester United, and by this point I'm already knowledgeable about all these teams. But now I'm glad it didn't happen when I was like a child, because I'm like, I can make an informed decision, and I'm not going to be bullied into picking anything. So I was just like, hey, you know what? Tim Howard plays there. Everton have had a couple other American players. There aren't many American. A lot of Premier League clubs have never had an American player, right? So the fact that Tim Howard played there, and then I look more into it. Oh, Landon Donovan, Brian McBride had some games there. Joe Max Moore. There's people have played. I'm like, okay, cool. This seems like it's obviously not a team that does a whole lot of winning and winning trophies, but it seems like a cool team, like a very blue collar. And we can get more into it after. But yeah, it's. I would just say, to wrap that up, I'm like, it's been one of the best decisions I ever made, because it's introduced me to a community that I never would have met otherwise.
Wait, I just want to backtrack. What was the guess on number of saves he made against Belgium?
I said 14.
I wanted to say I was going to say 14, but I was also thinking 18. So I'm going to guess 14 too.
Right in the middle, 16.
Okay,
Oh,
close. All right.
Incredible number.
Yeah.
I remember that game too. I remember being at work and being like, I'm going to hide in the conference room and watch. And I was hopeful. I don't know why I thought actually we could at least bring them to penalties in the knockout, because that Belgium team was amazing.
Yeah, they were very.
For the record, I did not remember off the top of my head. I looked it up while you were talking.
Mark, nobody listening expected that. Nobody thought that, but thanks for clarifying.
So there's it's daunting to get into the Premier League and to decide to get into the European soccer. It's so much easier to get MLS. What have you noticed is a difference between American soccer fans and European or international soccer fans?
So I'll push back a little bit there. I think I disagree with that point. I think it's harder to get into MLS, and I think it's probably a little bit more daunting, because if you initially start supporting MLS, you're gonna be dealing with bullies that are like, "Hey, MLS retirement league, this is dumb. Why the quality is not there," and blah blah blah, which is completely accurate. But that's like getting mad at when you're watching AAA baseball, and it's like, "Hey, this isn't major leagues. Why are you watching it?" It's like, well, I want to support you. You support something, right? You want to, if you have interest in it. Like, there's a lot of soccer police that do that. So I find they're daunting in their own sort of ways. I mean, I think the history that the Premier League offers is easy to be like to walk into, and generally people already they know why you're there. They're like, yes, it's Manchester United. We've been around or whatever. Sir Alex Ferguson. They totally get it. If you are supporting an American team, they're like, how'd you get into that? Why did you do that? Like, whether it's MLS, whether it's any other level. So, apologies for that, because I get triggered easily. But but the main difference, I would say, so like, I was, the Premier League Summer Series has just happened this summer, and I went to the game at MetLife. I went to the game in Atlanta. And one thing I love about Everton fans in particular is I mean, Everton fans are super nice to me all the time, and I understand. I'm like, I do a fairly popular show, and they love that there's an Everton fan there to spread that propaganda, right? And that's what I'm here for. But the community is just so awesome, and because the team is not the last 30 years, they're just staying up, and that's as good as it kind of can get. We've had a couple European spots here and there, but I always compare it to, like, when I go to Liverpool. Fans they're welcoming. The way it is on the internet, you think that people are going to be like, English people are going to be mad at you, and you're American, you don't know whatever. Everton fans are. This is what I got most of when I was in Liverpool, because we filmed about 3 years ago. We filmed a documentary for Everton versus Arsenal. My co-host on the Cooligans is an Arsenal fan, so we went. And I got a lot of crap from Liverpool fans. I was like, what? I remember there was an Uber driver, and we were going to Goodison Park to go do some filming. And as soon as it popped up on his phone of where he was taking us, he goes, oh, whoa, let me take you to a real stadium in Anfield. Anfield is like a couple blocks away from Goodison. So, but I got a lot of crap from Everton fans themselves, because they were, they would see me wearing an Everton shirt. They would hear my accent. And the first thing they would do is be like, why did you do this to yourself? Like, why would you pick this team? I was born into this. You didn't have you could have picked any team, and you chose this one. Like, we're shite. That's what I would say over there. And the cool thing is, once they get past that part of just like teasing me about it, they're like genuinely, thank you. You could have picked any team, and you chose my team. Like, it really shows the impact. They always say Everton, their line is like, once this club touches you, it changes you forever, right? And the cool thing about that is, like, whether it's American Evertonians and Liverpool Evertonians have a much different demeanor. American Evertonians have this optimism and positivity that Liverpool Evertonians are like, what the hell is that about? My team's been awful most of my life. I understand you. But there's something that I think for American Everton fans that connects them it's just a blue collar attitude. Another cool thing, Liverpool is also very unique to England because they're not really like rocking with the crown like that. They're very like, again, it's very blue collar. It's very like I remember talking to one of the guys from Toffee TV, which is a big Everton channel, and I think the Euros were happening, and I'm like, oh, how do you feel about England at the Euros? He's like, I don't watch it. Like, you're in England, you don't watch. I mean, it's the biggest sport in the country, and you don't watch England.
You're not watching Euros.
Yeah, he's like, no, I don't really watch England. It's not just Everton that's my club, and I'm like, I gotta just like respect that sort of dedication to it. So Liverpool, interestingly, feels like a lot like, I don't know if you've ever been to Ireland, but Ireland is like, there's just a certain type of people that Liverpool kind of carries a lot of those characteristics. So that's why, in hindsight, I'm like so happy I chose Everton because I've been to Old Trafford, I've been to the Emirates, and Alexis, when he goes to Arsenal games, Arsenal fans are not like, yo, you're American, thank you so much for picking my club. How cool is? They're like, yeah, of course. Yeah, why wouldn't you pick our team? And there's an arrogance and there's a lack of appreciation, which I don't necessarily expect it, but I was genuinely surprised by it. So there's a character and unentitledness to Everton that I kind of like, and it connects with me as a person in a different way than any other club. So that's why I'm happy I made that choice.
I during the interviews with some of these wonderful Everton fans, that was actually the thing that kept coming up was loyalty. We're not sure why we're rooting for this team, but they're part of the family, that they've been there since the 80s. And to me, it kept thinking, I don't know how big an American football fan you are, but I'm a Jets and a Rams fan. Rams because I grew up there, and Jets fan because my mom pushed it on me. And you're talking about optimism, American optimism. I'm thinking of the Jets there. I'm thinking of...
Sure. I mean, I would argue it's delusion.
Delusion.
It's not really optimism anymore. I mean, who is it? Woody Johnson is the owner?
Oh, yeah.
And he's now the owner of Crystal Palace in
Yeah.
England. And there's been a slew of Instagram videos and TikTok of Jets fans warning Crystal Palace fans that you just inherited the worst owner in sports. So,
he was the ambassador to England too, right?
Right.
And the Jets played there, and he fired Salah because he was so embarrassed that the Jets lost in London, I believe it was, to the Vikings last year. So yeah, good luck, Palace.
He's gonna be dealing with another Salah out in Liverpool. It's gonna be interesting.
Oh my goodness. I mean, surprisingly enough, Palace just beat Liverpool in the Community Shield there.
Right.
But so the other thing I start thinking of is a lot of American fans really get into internationally, like the World Cup. That's our little toe dip. Every 4 years we dive in there. What do you think of the difference between international and club? Because club is a lot more. It's very easy to dive into the World Cup.
Right. Look, this is another thing I find fascinating because, interacting with so many people from Europe. There's in Europe, it's an interesting aspect because a lot of times they hate international breaks. It like ruins the flow of the season, because especially we have an international break coming up in I think like 3 weeks or something like that, and so it's about 4 weeks into the European season, and you're like, yeah, all right, we're doing it, we're, like week after week, and then it's like, this international break, I don't want to watch. And then the biggest concern is like they're gonna go play in these like, not meaningless games, but like these games that they play Liechtenstein, and then somebody gets injured, and now they're out, and now the Premier League title is out of hope. So for me, I mean, U.S. men's national team, U.S. women's national team, I make an effort to watch those games. This is also very recent, news in that the Dominican Republic, for some reason, is good at soccer now because they qualified for the first Gold Cup in the country's history. So that's brought this like new excitement. The USMNT especially can be very toxic online. Everybody complaining about the coach or Pulisic not playing and blah blah blah. So I think that people caring that much is a good sign. We recently had Landon Donovan on the show. We recently had Marcelo. Why am I forgetting his last name? Balboa. We just had him on the show, and two like opposites of pessimism and optimism, right? Marcelo Balboa is like, hey, I won't criticize current players. I knew how tough it was to play on that team and what the stakes were and how difficult it was. I'm just gonna try. I'm gonna criticize, but I'm not gonna just put anybody down. And Landon Donovan is like, I'm just being a podcaster. I'm just doing what I gotta do, bro. I think both are fine, but this is where we've evolved. When Marcelo was playing in that 1990, 94, 98 World Cup, I mean, every World Cup was like, if we don't do well here, the sport may die. And the current players are not playing with that kind of, with that much on the line. They're playing with a different kind of pressure. They're playing with a pressure of like, you're going to get yelled at online a lot by a lot of people. And Marcelo, Alexis Lalas, all these guys, they didn't deal with that in particular. It was a, in the 90s, we're like, look at these it's cute. They're trying to play their little soccer game and, get real football back.
Oh, they beat Colombia. Holy cow. I can't believe,
Sure.
that kind of stuff.
So the new, this current U.S. men's national team has an opportunity, and I think because the World Cup is going to be in the U.S., Mexico, and Canada, they have an opportunity that I think some of the older players are like, why don't you take, like, this is why Pulisic skipping Gold Cup is like frustrating to them, because it's like, why would you? We don't have that many games that you're even playing together. Like, you need to build that chemistry and camaraderie. So next year they have an opportunity to do something, I think, really special. And it's like, I was asking Marcelo, like, what could be the impact of that 94 World Cup? What could be the things that changed after that, which was MLS started in 1996. Now in 2026, what will be the next thing that happens because the World Cup was here? And it's hard to say. He couldn't even really give a specific answer. I think for us, I'm a soccer sicko. My hope is that maybe things look a little bit more like Europe, right? That we have promotion relegation. And maybe we change the calendar to be like in Europe and really compete with those leagues, because at the end of the day, the point is to compete for the talent, the players. There's a finite amount of talent. They can't play in two countries at once. So you have to do everything you can to get them here so that people are interested in the league. It's not rocket science, but as far as the comparison between the two, there's a I don't know how to explain it, but like U.S. men's national team, like positive results or negative results are like a sort of right hook in a boxing match to the face. Like if it goes poorly, Everton having like a bad game or like a couple jabs in the belly. You know what I mean? It hurts also, but it just hurts in a different way, and it's just like a slower drip of pain. Last season was actually interesting for Everton because they stayed safe, like with 3 or 4 games to go, which is like, as an Everton fan, it's almost like you're not. I can't even finish. You know what I mean? I can't even. There's like a toxicity. There's almost like you want like a toxic relationship, but you can't if you can't like have that adrenaline of like, we might die. That it loses its excitement, because we're not necessarily there every day for a super Man City high quality football. It is like the excitement of getting so close to getting relegated and then being able to stay. Like, I don't. It was like even when I was in Atlanta, I'm talking to a bunch of Everton fans. I'm like, damn, wasn't it kind of weird that we just like we were safe so early? I'm like, it just like
it wasn't enjoyable.
We couldn't trauma bond, which we normally do every year.
It's David Moyes' fault.
What are your expectations or hopes for the new season?
So, I mean, we're recording this today when Jack Grealish just got announced. He's going to be going to Everton on loan.
That's a big deal.
So that's a huge deal. And I've never said a negative word about Jack Grealish.
I love him. I think he's fun.
Nobody listens to my podcast ever. My expectation is, look, because I'm like, I've worked with the club in some capacity, and know a lot of people who work there. So there's like a in interest in just like that they sort out their like financial issues. I just hope they're okay as a business, right? So I care about what happens on the pitch. I also they're playing in their new stadium this season, so that part of it's exciting because there's going to be more money coming into the club. Like at Goodison Park, I believe they had like a 25,000 person waiting list for season tickets. So that
Wow.
the club is it has so much history, and they used to be very, very good and one of the top teams in England. And it's fascinating because I love the banter between Liverpool fans and Everton fans, because Everton fans will basically say like, Liverpool fans will joke about like the club doesn't win and blah blah blah, but Everton fans will say like, there are more Everton fans in Liverpool than Liverpool fans, and Liverpool fans don't live in Liverpool.
That's what I heard. That's what they all said. They're all from out of the country,
which makes sense. Look, it's a popular brand. LeBron James is one of the owners and stuff like that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He is.
If they want to get rid of the 25,000 people wait list, just attach to PSL to the new building, like the Jets and Giants did.
Okay, that's
exactly.
Expectations. You said what? Expectations. My expectations are that we. I've seen them twice in preseason, and we weren't that great, except we did okay against Manchester United. My expectation is like, if they can get in a top 10 spot, that's a good season. That's a fantastic season for Everton. But again, playing in this new stadium, more money coming into the club. It's funny to me because Liverpool also play in Liverpool, right? So nobody wants to live in Liverpool. It's fine, but nobody wants to live there. But the fact that Liverpool is like, we can get any player, and we don't have to be like, this is Los Angeles, and everybody wants to like. They can't say that. So their pitch deck must be fantastic to get players to go live in Liverpool and trust in the club and trust them with their careers. Everton should be able to do that as well. So they just need to get to a place where, yes, they are bringing more money, but I've interviewed several Everton players, and they always say, I was speaking to Landon Donovan about it. Landon Donovan played in Everton for like 6 months, and he's like, that was one of the greatest experiences I ever had as a professional.
Really?
Where the fans, there's just something that it is a Goodison Park is a 50,000 person hug. They just love and appreciate if you go to play there. They're always show that gratitude. There's a couple players that they have their issues with or whatever. And even in my era when I started supporting them, like Anthony Gordon, who plays at Newcastle. Anthony Gordon is a Liverpool fan. And he was like, Liverpool didn't want me. Everton did. But I'm just going to go and do my job. But in that season, the season before he left, he was just showing a terrible attitude towards the club, and people were mad at him, and he wasn't like, they were criticizing him. He was missing great opportunities, but he showed a poor, just body language, everything was just negative, and it caught on, and people were really, really critical of him. And then when you hear him talk about Everton now, he's like, whatever, like, and it's like, yeah, dude, that's why they were mad at you, because even though there have been. It's a small city, right? So people might be fans of the other team and play on the other, and people can forgive that if you just work hard for the club. And it's like they're not asking for that much. So that part of it is again, it speaks to the grit and heart and genuineness of their supporters.
It's kind of what you're talking about Liverpool there. That's why all the MLS teams, LAFC and Inter Miami, get all the best players because everybody wants to live there.
Right.
Giroud, is in LAFC. Messi, of course, out in Inter.
But Giroud got basically kicked out because he left. And now Heung-min Son just started for LAFC.
Oh, wow. They got Son now?
Yeah. So that was literally last week that happened.
And he kicked Giroud out. I love Giroud.
Giroud just did not work at all. And I think his style of play, which is like more of a hold-up, slower type of defender, striker, just some MLS teams, not all of them, but some of them are just like, these guys are athletes, and just send them forward and let them run and do their thing. And he just could not adapt to that game. He played 38 games, 5 goals.
Wow.
Which is
he's a goal-scoring machine.
He's a World Cup winner.
Yeah.
And that's definitely not enough by even their standards and definitely his standards.
I think it's interesting given, Everton has not won any sort of major trophy now in 30 years that the fans, top half of the table is okay. Can you imagine, the Jets, 55 years without a Super Bowl, if you tell them the Jets are going to finish third in the AFC East, They're ready to burn. They're ready to burn the stadium.
Yeah,
down.
we'd be livid. We dream of AFC East. Why aren't we winning? It's completely delusional.
I mean, the Yankees haven't won a World Series now. It's since 2009. And I joked when the Cubs finally ended a 108-year drought. The equivalent in Chicago of 108 years is 16 years here in New York.
It's brutal.
It's way too long, and it's unacceptable. I used to joke that given the orbit of Saturn vis-a-vis
Every
Earth,
7 years,
that it's been 7,000 years, and that's how long it feels since the Yankees won a World Series.
It does. We did go last year, and I'm still upset that we didn't get to Game 6. I just cannot believe that they blew game 5 so badly.
If only Aaron Judge could catch a fly ball.
As a Mets fan, I am mad.
Well, we have our own problems, though. We're going on 40 years. But I think there are a lot of similarities in the approach of Met fans and the approach of Everton fans. They've been down for so long. Now, granted, the Mets have been in a couple of World Series since their last title in 1986. Everton has not been to the promised land in the Premier League, even though they've been around the Premier League and in the Premier League for
it's
some of the longest tenure of any of the teams.
It's a fitting. I'm also a Knicks fan, right? I mean, there's been more success there overall, but But it is very fitting. As a Mets fan, as an Everton fan, there's a lot of, and it's an interesting thing because the NFL is getting a lot more popular in England, and they play games there. So now a lot of conversations I have with people in England are like, oh, what's your NFL team? Or they're doing the what NFL team should I pick? Which one connects with me the most? And it's been an interesting exchange of culture because I love a lot of people do these little infographics of if you're a fan of this team, go pick they pick the Jets. If your team sucks or whatever.
Newcastle Raiders. I don't know how they fit, but
sure. It's been the one thing I would say about the sport in itself compared to baseball, NFL, NBA, the soccer offers a level of community that the other sports just do not. I mean, NFL, you can go tailgate. You can have these sort of moments, but they all feel somewhat corporate, somewhat devised by the owners to make sure that these people are together talking about the same thing and interacting about the same thing.
It's a cash grab more than it is
sure.
love for the team.
I mean, every sport and every league has to make their money, but the interesting thing with supporters and supporters culture, speaking of Everton or really any other supporter, a lot of supporters don't really get along with their club or their team. Like the people who run these supporters groups really fight with them a lot, and they have to push to say hey, we want to do this. We want to paint this tifo. We want to show this kind of activism. We want to do this. And the clubs are usually worried about their sponsors, or they're like, hey, no, don't do that. Don't do that. There's something called the Independent Supporters Council, which is the last couple of years they invite us and we do stand up for them, and it's basically a conference of all the presidents of all the supporters groups. So they'll send 2 or 3 people. So LAFC might send 6 or 7 people because there might be a few different groups. NYCFC, Inter Miami, whatever. But then they have one of those for the U.S. and there's a global one, and where all the support. So it might be clubs in Germany, and they all go to sort of exchange ideas and be if you need to paint a massive mural, hey, this is how you do it. These are the best practices. If you need to interact with your front office, this is what you sort of should do. And all these things that I'm talking about that are real labor and time, people are just doing this.
Do it for free.
For free. They love the club, and they look at the club owners as they say they're stewards of the club. I'm gonna be here after you, so you can't ruin this. So that part of it.
It's more than laundry.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, that part I love about this sport, because it offers something that I've never gotten from. I'm a big NBA fan. The community of my NBA fandom is like watching a game with a bunch of my friends. And that's kind of about it. And now we have side talk, and we have people screaming outside of MSG, which is like fine. I find it entertaining.
Get the Pacer fan.
Am I gonna be in one of the videos? I don't think so. But it's like it's not the community that I'm necessarily gravitate to. So that is what I love, because there's a level of, and some clubs are a bit more like Everton, especially NYCFC too, is like very inclusive. I mean, even with like all this negativity around LGBT stuff, and like the internet just kind of goes nuts, and they have this new thing. These are the people that need to be attacked nowadays. And I love when clubs just lean into like, no, we're not gonna just start hating on people or exclude people or not mention them just because a couple people on the internet are going to be mad about it. So soccer offers something that's just incredibly unique, and depending on the club, will have values that you align with. Lazio in Italy is like, the nickname is Nazio, right?
Because of Mussolini's favorite team.
So I'm not necessarily going to go to one of those games or whatever, but but one of my favorite players plays on the team, right? So I'm not going to, I understand, like, again, everybody has to work and stuff like that, but I love that at the very least there are I mean, I wish there wasn't a club nickname that, but I love that there's clubs that, and people can connect with clubs in a way that isn't just with a particular player, or that really the club itself can represent an ideology and character and morals that people can gravitate to.
Yeah, you find this is for Americans there to find their sports DNA.
Sure.
It's interesting. I want to circle back. You talked about the infographic, and if I'm a fan of a certain team, what soccer team should I follow? And, here in New York City, it's you either go old school, generally speaking, with the Giants, the Yankees, the Knicks, and the Rangers, or you go to the newer teams, which, of course, are the Jets and the Mets and the Nets and the Islanders. And it's interesting to tie it in because NYCFC has been so interwoven with the Yankees since their birth, playing obviously at Yankee Stadium, being for a while until Apple took over the TV contract on the Yankees cable network. But now the new stadium is going up across the street from Citi Field where the Mets play. So how is that dynamic, you think, going to change?
I can only speak from the supporters' perspective. They're like, thank God we don't have to work with the Yankees anymore. Because I know. So the big issue with Yankee Stadium is that they're very strict with what the supporters can do at the stadium. I mean, there's the joke about the banner, the championship banner, which is the size of a stamp, right? And they didn't, most stadiums have like a proper banner that you celebrate the championship, and the Yankees allowed like a tiny little thing like this. So and that goes to say, just like, there've been issues with like what tifos people can do, and there's just a lot of like oversight, and it's something. It's not even necessarily like NYCFC's fault, because NYCFC is just like, hey, the Yankees, they run the building, we can't really. So there's just been a lot of pushback, and now not having that third party, not having that middleman decide how things are going to be run is just going to be the best. So, and NYCFC supporters are just like awesome people, and just I've seen. It's been weird. It's going to be, the stadium's opening in 2027, so it'll be 12 years since a team started. But I've seen kids grow up. I mean, and I just didn't think about this when I got my first season tickets in 2015. I've seen kids grow up. And now they're like screaming, throwing water during goals. And I'm like, I saw your mom carrying you here, dude. Like, it's so cool.
You get baptized into it, and you're in.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm I think that stadium, Etihad Park, right next to Citi Field, is gonna. I think it's going to. Now it's going to change how soccer is viewed in New York, but I think it's going to change how soccer is viewed in the country. New York has never had a soccer-specific stadium. It'll be a. I mean, imagine just there's going to be friendlies. Obviously, you figure in Queens, Colombia, Ecuador. That game is literally. I mean, it's going to be the tickets are. There's not going to be an empty seat.
Yeah.
It's going to be insane. So, playing next to Arthur Ashe Stadium with the U.S. Open play, it's going to be an iconic venue for the sport in like all of the world. So I'm excited to see what market it's going to make in not just New York, but in the sport as a whole.
And they can have a banner big enough to see from the International Space Station.
That would be lovely. Just make the roof out of the banner.
Are they gonna have World Cup games there next summer?
No. So the stadium is going to be in 27.
Okay.
But even if the World Cup, even if it were built in time, the stadium's too small. So
Right.
it's going to be I think a little over 25,000.
Same reason they're not going to have anything at Red Bull Arena, which is now Sports Illustrated Stadium.
It's unbelievable. I mean, I get it. I get the cash grab for more fans, but we just saw from the FIFA Club World Cup that if there's not a draw, if there's not Real Madrid, if there's not PSG coming in, then the next thing you know, those $100 tickets are suddenly $10 and $20.
Yeah.
And people want to come see, and they want the atmosphere. 25,000 gives a great atmosphere.
100%.
You got the drums going, you got the singing, the chants. My biggest thing about regular American sports is that we pump in crowd noise.
Oh, sure.
And instead, at Everton games and at the soccer games, it's the crowd giving the background.
Yeah, that would be so insane if they pumped in crowd noise at a soccer game.
It'd
People
just
would be
weird.
so mad.
I'm mad listening to Knicks game and hearing clap your hands and defense and so before we pop off here, just a little bit about the podcast, where people can find you.
Sure. The Cooligans, you can follow at Soccer Cooligans on everything. We're on 2 days a week. We're on Yahoo Sports. We're on YouTube. We're on everything. And yeah, I always say if you already like soccer and you like laughing, that's what we offer. So yeah, we're both stand-up comics, and we just have a fun time talking about the sport. And I'll add also obviously because you're obviously very connected to the comedy world. When we started this podcast, I remember a lot of other comics were like, "What the hell are you gonna start a soccer podcast for? There's gonna be 8 people listening." And now a lot of comics are like, "Oh man, I wish I would have started something like you did a bunch of years ago." And now like having these moments, I mean, this sport has changed my life in the way I never thought. I was my plan was to like write for SNL or write for like Last Week Tonight. I was submitting packets. I was doing all that stuff. And the cool thing about bringing comedy into this sport that I already love is that for whatever reason, the comedy world, especially in the U.S., mocks soccer. It calls it gay and blah blah, all this dumb stuff. And it is just, it's been nothing but just awesome. It's just like I've met some of the coolest people. I've interviewed David Beckham and Chicharito and U.S. men, U.S. women's national teams stars. And it's just that's been my biggest appreciation because it's 10 years since we started. That how welcoming people have been, and some people were pretty skeptical. It was like, who are these clowns? They don't know the sport. A lot of journalists are like, oh, these guys.
Oh, look at me.
Gatekeepers.
I've been on the bandwagon since day one.
No, you were one of the few that were on board. But that's been like the coolest part of it. That the merger of these two things have really like panned out in a really like positive way. And the World Cup is coming up next year, and we're going to be doing a lot of fun stuff for that. So be on the lookout. My perspective of the soccer world is like I'm a podcaster and comedian, and I'm like trying to make these players laugh and sort of have a good time. But I'm also very inspired by those people that are like painting tifos and dedicating so much time to their club. Like these people are not interacting with the players. They're not getting autographs necessarily, but they do it because they create an environment that is just so unique and so special. Whether it's NYCFC, whether it's Everton, all those, we always say like the 12th man, like in NFL, whatever. all those people really offer something to even to the players themselves. Where and there's sometimes games where people say they take away the drums. Like we were talking about Yankee Stadium. Sometimes they're like, the supporters were punished, so they can't have drums in this game. And you see the play on the field is affected because they don't have this thing that they're normally sort of used to. So that part of it, that community is just. You can see why people are so obsessed with the sport. You can see why it's the most popular sport in the world because, it connects you to something bigger than yourself. And the other sports, as entertaining as they might be, do not offer that.
And understandably, this is why Christian Polanco is part of the ultra world.
Let's go.
Thank you for joining us, Christian Polanco. For Marc Ernay, I'm Sean Cassels. Thank you guys for listening.
UW for life. Let's go.
This has been the Ultra World Podcast, the soccer fan's voice from the stands, with your hosts, Marc Ernay and Sean Cassels. Our executive producer is Sue Zizza. Marc Ernay and Sean Cassels are co-producers. David Shin is our master engineer. Assistant producer Avery Gehrig, and I'm Alicia Antwine. To be a guest on the Ultra World Podcast or learn all about sponsorship opportunities, send an email to ultraworldpod@gmail.com. Be sure to follow the show on all the social media platforms at Ultra World Pod. Copyright 2025. All rights reserved. Ultra World Podcast, LLC.